All right, let's get right into it. The final 10 days before the JEE main exam. Look, this isn't a marathon anymore. It's a high-stakes, all-out sprint to that finish line. So today, we're going to break down the data-driven protocol to absolutely maximize your score when that clock is ticking.
First things first, we have to frame the challenge, because let's be honest, it is immense. Every single student taking this exam is facing the exact same daunting mountain. And you know what? Understanding the sheer scale of this mission is the very first step to conquering it.
So what are you up against? Well, it's a syllabus of roughly 75 chapters across physics, chemistry, and mathematics. That is a colossal, just a massive amount of information to hold in your head at one time. And how much time do you actually have to master all of this? Let's be realistic. If you're studying a disciplined 12 hours a day for these 10 days, you have a grand total of just 120 hours. 75 chapters, 120 hours. The math just doesn't feel right, does it?
So that brings us to the big question, right? The one that's probably keeping you up at night. Is this mission even possible? Well, trying to cover everything in order, one by one, the data says that's mathematically unfeasible, and frankly, a strategic disaster.
So, what do? We need a completely new strategy. The old way of thinking, just trying to finish the syllabus, you gotta throw that out the window. What you need right now is a fundamental mental shift in how you approach these last 10 days.
So how do we solve this puzzle? We use a super powerful metric, our secret weapon, ROTI, or Return on Time Invested. This idea is the absolute core of our entire protocol. It completely shifts your focus from how much you study to what you study. It's all about being ruthless and prioritizing the chapters that give you the most bang for your buck, the most marks for every single minute you invest.
This slide really just lays it all out. The old way, over on the left, is all about syllabus coverage. It's like trying to walk through every single page of every book. But the new way, the winning way, is about functional competence, taking the most direct path to being able to turn what you know into correct answers when it counts. We're ditching the slow, linear slog for a smart, tactical leap. Okay, theory is great, but let's get practical. How do we actually apply this ROTI principle? We do it with a data-backed, high-yield hit list. Let's break down the absolute must-do chapters for each subject, starting with the one that decides your rank. According to years and years of performance data, mathematics is consistently the section that makes or breaks your final rank. It's long, it's tough, and it's exactly where a smart strategy pays off the most. So at a glance, you can see algebra and calculus are the two giants, right? They take up about 70% of the paper. It's so tempting to just focus there. But look closer. See that little 10% slice for vectors in 3D? That small segment right there is where some of the highest ROI is hiding. And here they are, the Tier 1 titans for math. We're talking vector algebra and 3D geometry. These two are probably the most efficient way to score. Then you've got matrices and determinants, sequences and series, definite integration, and differential equations. These chapters tend to follow predictable patterns. If you can master these, you've built an incredibly strong foundation for a top-tier score. Let's keep this momentum going and move to physics. And trust me, physics is an absolute goldmine for a strategic student. If you just know where to look, you can find chapters that offer a massive return on your time. The weightage here follows what the source material calls a dumbbell distribution. What does that mean? It means it's super heavily weighted towards Class 12 topics. You can see electrodynamics and modern physics are huge chunks. This is a critical insight. Don't get bogged down trying to perfect every little corner of Class 11 mechanics when these heavyweights are weighted. So what are the titans of physics? Well, your absolute #1 priority is the modern physics cluster, which includes semiconductors. It is the undisputed king of ROT. These chapters are way less demanding mathematically, but carry massive weight. Your other non-negotiables, current electricity, thermodynamics, and ray optics. These are the chapters that are going to give you the most marks per minute, period. And now for chemistry, which is consistently the highest yielding subject. This is where a well-prepared student can rack up the most marks in the shortest amount of time, and that creates a crucial time buffer for you to use on the other sections. What's really interesting here is the balance. You see, unlike physics, the 3 branches of chemistry, inorganic, organic, and physical, are almost equally weighted. So that means you need a balanced strategy. But don't worry, each branch has its own high-yield champions. For chemistry, your priorities are crystal clear.
Coordination compounds has become one of the most critical chapters. You can't skip it. For organic, your focus should be on aldehydes, ketones, and carboxylic acids. And for physical, your two foundational pillars are electrochemistry and chemical bonding. These 4 areas show up again and again, and they often have multiple questions. Make them your absolute priority.
Okay, so we know what to study. Now let's talk about how to study it. See, this protocol isn't just a list, it's a system, a repeatable 5-step battle plan that you can use for every single chapter on your hit list.
And here's the cycle. Step 1, watch a concise one-shot revision lecture at high speed, like 1.5x or 2x. Step 2, immediately do active recall. Close your notes and just write down every formula you can remember for about 15 minutes. Step 3, apply it. Solve about 20 recent high-quality previous year's questions. Step 4, revise by going back and correcting your recall sheet. And finally, Step 5, validate your learning with a short, timed mock test. Then you just rinse and repeat.
We've covered the what and the how. Now for the champion's mindset. Let's finish up with some rapid-fire, high-impact tactics for exam day that can make all the difference. First, a huge hack for chemistry. For inorganic, your Bible is the NCERT textbook. The data is so clear on this. Questions, especially for the P block and D block, are often lifted word for word straight from the text and tables. It is the ultimate source of truth.
Next, for maths. This is so important. Do not, and I repeat, do not attempt the paper in order. It is a selection game. The moment you open that section, your first job is to scan the entire paper and hunt for the questions from vectors, 3D geometry, and matrices. Solve those first. Bank those guaranteed marks before you get stuck in some lengthy calculus problem.
And this really brings us to the core philosophy of this whole protocol. Success in these final days doesn't come from the impossible task of learning everything. No, it comes from mastering the art of retrieval, being able to quickly and accurately pull out the information that matters most, right when you're under pressure.
So that's the strategic framework, all backed by data. The protocol is clear, the high-yield targets are all identified. You have a finite budget of 120 hours. The only question left is, how will you choose to invest them?